Welcome to the deep dive. Where we sift through information to find those golden nuggets, basically giving you a shortcut to feeling well-informed.
That's the idea. Quick insights, less noise.
And today we're tackling something really practical. How to get a handle on learning English, like quickly and naturally.
Right. And our source material, it's some key bits from the Real English Conversation Practice podcast.
Yeah, hosted by Olivia and Daniel. So our mission here isn't just, listing language tips.
No, not at all. We want to dig into the real communication happening there, the nuances. We're trying to pull out insights that you can actually use, like, right away.
Exactly. So where do we start? That podcast, Real English Conversation Practice, it often just kicks off with Olivia and Daniel chatting, right?
Yeah, catching up. Like, in one bit, Daniel mentions his morning run had to go early because of the heat.
And Olivia talks about having a more relaxed morning, a good breakfast. Seems pretty standard.
It does seem simple on the surface, but even that little exchange really highlights something key for language learners. Just basic small talk.
Right. And Olivia and Daniel, they actually point this out themselves, don't they? They stress how important it is for starting conversations, keeping them going.
And they gave specific examples, too. Questions like,
how was your morning? Or, what did you have for breakfast? Even, did you sleep well? Stuff we all ask.
we do, but think about why they work, especially when you're learning. It's not just the words.
What do you mean?
Well, what's interesting for you, the learner, is how mastering these simple exchanges actually builds confidence. Getting comfortable with hello and how are you sort of opens the door.
Ah, okay. Like stepping stones.
Exactly. And the hosts, they pushed listeners to repeat these questions out loud, focusing on pronunciation.
How the words sound.
Yeah, and rhythm, the sort of musicality of the sentence, the stress. That's huge for sounding natural.
Okay, so after the morning chat, they kind of shifted gears, didn't they? Into hobbies, free time.
They did. Olivia talked about photography and reading. Daniel mentioned playing guitar and getting into cooking lately.
It felt like a really smooth transition.
Totally natural. And it shows how conversations usually flow, right? From the general stuff to things that are a bit more personal, revealing more about who we are.
And again, they gave some really handy phrases for this.
Super useful building blocks. Things like,
In my free time, I enjoy.
hey,
I've been learning to, and I'm into. They seem basic, but you can do a lot with them.
you really can. That one I'm into. It's so flexible. You can use it for passions, things you're just trying out. It's a real workhorse phrase in English.
Workhorse phrase, I like that.
And their advice, to take these phrases and make them yours, personalize them, say them out loud so they just, roll off the tongue when you need them.
Makes sense. Practice makes permanent. Then they touched on food, right? Always a good topic.
Always. Olivia mentioned her quick lunches versus, having time for a proper cooked meal.
And Daniel was raving about making ramen at home.
Yeah.
Sounded good, actually.
It did. And from that little chat, they pulled out some really practical, everyday phrases. Oh, things like, what do you usually eat for lunch? The classic, that sounds delicious. I'm full. Maybe I love spicy food.
Stuff you genuinely use, like maybe even later today.
Exactly. It really drives home that you don't need these super complex scenarios to practice. Your daily routine is full of learning chances.
Simple questions, simple answers, packed with potential.
Precisely. It shows learning isn't just textbooks, right? It's about engaging with life, and food is a huge part of that. Those phrases are perfect examples.
Okay, so moving on, they also shared travel memories.
Ah, yes, travel. Daniel talked about Japan, Kyoto, Tokyo, the food, the people.
And Olivia went with Morocco. She mentioned the colors, the energy, tagine, mint tea. You almost felt like you were there.
Yeah, they painted a good picture. And what's important there for a learner is seeing how sharing experiences, especially travel, builds connection. It builds rapport.
It's a common way to connect, definitely. And they gave listeners some starting points for their own stories, too.
Right, sentence starters. Like,
Last year I traveled to, or it's my first time in.
Yeah.
And the best part was, really helpful frameworks.
Super helpful. And importantly, they also encouraged you to just go for it.
Yeah.
Share your story, even if your English isn't perfect.
That's a big one. Get the message across.
Exactly. Focus on communication, not perfection. That's key for building fluency and, honestly, just the confidence to speak.
So true. Okay, then the conversation turned to work and school. Another very common topic.
Super common. Olivia talked about digital marketing, creative, fun, but busy.
And Daniel described his online English teaching as rewarding. And he said he learns from his students too, which was nice.
Yeah, it just shows how talking about what we do is a big part of getting to know someone, our jobs, our studies. It's part of our identity.
And they had phrases for this too.
Of course. Simple, direct ones. I work as a noon, or I'm a student studying. Maybe I'm looking for a job in.
Essential stuff for introductions or just explaining your situation.
Mm-hmm. And just like before, the call to action was immediate. Practice saying your answer out loud.
Right, active participation again. They really hammer that home.
Because it works. Passive listening is good, but active practice is crucial.
Got it. Then things got a bit more personal, talking about relationships,
Yes.
family, friends.
Yeah, Daniel mentioned being close to his sister, her humor, her advice.
And Olivia spoke really fondly about her grandma and her stories. It felt quite warm.
It did, and it highlights how we naturally talk about the people who matter to us, you know? Sharing those connections is part of building deeper relationships in conversation.
And the phrases reflected that closeness. Things like,
I'm close to. We get along really well, and we talk all the time.
yeah, phrases that let you express that genuine connection in English.
Allows you to share those important bonds, which are often, the heart of real conversation.
Okay, so this next part is where they got really direct about learning English fast. The actual advice section.
Right, the explicit tips. Daniel's main one. Speak. Every single day.
Even just talking to yourself, he said.
Yep. And crucially, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Just get the words out.
That fear is such a big barrier for so many learners, isn't it?
Huge. It can totally freeze you up. So his advice to just engage daily, even internally, builds that muscle memory and confidence over time.
Makes sense. And Olivia's big tip was about listening.
Immersion through listening. Yeah. Listen as much as possible. Podcasts, obviously, but also songs, movies.
Letting it wash over you, kind of.
Exactly. Let it soak in naturally. She talked about it like creating your own little English bubble wherever you are.
That's a nice image.
Yeah.
And that kind of passive listening, it helps with understanding the flow, the patterns.
Definitely. Natural speech patterns, intonation, new vocabulary, all absorbed almost without trying.
And Daniel added one more technique.
Shadowing.
Shadowing, yeah. Where you listen and repeat exactly what you hear, pretty much in real time.
That sounds intense, but probably really good for pronunciation. It's very effective. It helps fine-tune your pronunciation, your intonation, that musical rise and fall, and even fluency, just trying to keep up.
Wow, lots of practical stuff there. And they ended that section with a nice motivational bit, didn't they?
They did. Something like, "We believe in you, listener. You can become fluent."
That kind of encouragement goes a long way, I think.
Absolutely. It helps build that positive mindset you need when you're facing the challenge of learning a language. Believing you can do it is like half the journey.
Totally agree. Now, the podcast also had this challenge round at the end.
Right, where Olivia flips it and asks questions directly to the listener.
Putting you on the spot.
In a good way. It's about moving from just listening and understanding to actually producing the language. Active recall.
So what sort of questions did she ask?
Things like, what's your morning routine? What do you usually eat for dinner? Describe your dream holiday. And what's one goal you have this year?
Good open-ended questions. Requires more than just a yes or no.
Exactly. And the key instruction was to actually pause the audio and speak your answer out loud.
That immediate application, right? Making it stick.
Mm-hmm. Helps cement the learning and builds that speaking confidence muscle.
And they added that little encouragement, you're doing amazing,
Yeah.
even though they can't hear you.
Yeah, it's a nice touch. Creates that supportive feeling like they're cheering you on, which helps you keep going, even if it feels a bit awkward at first.
Right. So wrapping up our deep dive here, we've basically gone through almost an hour of real English chat and pulled out some hopefully really useful takeaways.
Yeah, the goal was to give you a clearer view of how natural conversations actually work and some solid phrases and techniques you can, start using right now to boost your confidence and your speaking skills.
And the hosts of the original podcast, Olivia and Daniel, they really hit home the importance of just keeping at it, didn't they?
Absolutely. Keep listening, keep talking, keep learning. Consistency is key.
And they encourage listeners to subscribe and share their show too, if it's helpful.
Makes sense. Spreading the knowledge.
They finish with some really great sign-offs too. Real pep talks.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Things like, you've got this, keep going. And remember, progress, not perfection. Love that one.
That's excellent advice. Progress, not perfection.
And also, until next time, stay curious, and keep leveling up your English.
Nice. Really motivating stuff. Applicable to more than just language learning, really.
Definitely. So that leaves us and you with a final thought to chew on.
Okay, let's hear it.
Thinking about everything we just covered, the small talks, the hobbies, the travel stories, the direct learning tips.
Mm.
What's one specific thing, maybe just one phrase or one technique like shadowing or daily speaking, that you could consciously try to use starting today?
Yeah, what's one small change you could make right now that might actually make the biggest difference in how you communicate and learn English going forward?